Hello and good evening, traders and aspiring traders. Welcome to this week's episode of the weekly outlook on Nasdaq and SP 500. That is the US 100 and SP 5, US 100 and US 500. So happy new month, by the way. September is here. So since you're starting a new month, I'll start with the monthly chart because, as you know, a major rule in my type of trading is top-down analysis. So since it's the beginning of the month, this is the first week of September, we'll start off from the monthly chart. Okay, so let's get into it. So looking at the monthly chart, we notice that price has been bullish. Price has been very bullish for the most part of this year, and we have covered very big ranges in the market. So, and as we know, we are expecting rate cuts from the Fed on 17th of August this month. So we should only expect this price to continue being bullish throughout for the rest of the year. So basically that's all I need to know when I'm looking at the monthly chart. And looking at where we are, of course we could expect a retracement so that we can maybe rebalance these fair value gaps that are pretty visible and maybe retest the order block, the bullish order block on a monthly time frame. But we'll see how it goes with the technicals as well as the fundamentals, because if the Fed cut rates, we might not get that reversal anytime soon. We might keep going bullish, and maybe yes. So that is all I can say on the monthly chart. We can see that price swept the previous month's high, but it closed within that range. And on US 500, which has been more bullish for the past 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks or so, you can see that it was able to close above its previous month's high. So we are only the technicals are all leading to bullish price action throughout the month. So let's get down to the weekly chart. Okay, so looking at the weekly chart, we can see that the last week of August was bearish. It printed a bearish candle on the chart, but if you can remember well, we had bullish price action from Tuesday to Wednesday and Thursday, which only reversed on Friday, where we had the retracement that usually occurs after a big range in one direction has occurred. Usually on Friday you get 20 to 30% retracement. That is what some of the traders call thank God it's Friday, TGIF. But yes, so we can see that price formed that bearish candle, which was to be expected because it was the closing week. It was the last week of the month. So as I explained in the video where I was the trade recap, you remember I explained the open, low, high, then close, the open, high, low, close theory. So that theory, we expect when a bullish candle is being formed, we expect that there will be a retracement as it heads to close, as the candle is closing, because a bullish candle it opens, forms a low, then it rallies higher, then it comes back at a bit lower to make its close. So that is the same thing for the monthly candle. I expected that. So it was the 4th week and I expected it. So let's go on and mark some few levels here and see what we have for the new week. Since since I am bullish throughout this month, I would really fast expect to see some form of sell side liquidity swept on the weekly levels. After that, I will be more comfortable to continue bullishly, but first I would think I would prefer if this weekly low was swept at least on one of these two assets, even if it will not sweep on both assets. I would at least like to see price make an attempt to sweep the liquidity on maybe US100 or either of the two. If not both, either of the two would do the trick, because anytime before we go to attack buy side liquidity, we have to sweep the sell side liquidity and vice versa, which means if we want to attack sell side liquidity, I first want to see price go higher, sweep some form of buy side liquidity, and then we can trade towards the sell side liquidity. So that is what I really want to observe this week, especially because we have NFP Friday on Friday. Yes, NFP Friday on this is the first week of August, so of course we have NFP. So maybe before we reach that day, I would like to see price trade lower. If not, I would expect that NFP will do the manipulation where we will have the sell side liquidity sweep, which seems to be to it seems more likely that the liquidity may be swept on US100, but we'll see how the week goes. So that is what I really want to observe on the weekly. I want to see maybe this previous week low swept. If it will be possible, this is the form of sell side liquidity that I want to be swept on either one of the pairs, if not both. The previous week low, I'll just mark this other end as the previous week high, because as I have said, I expect a bullish month, especially if the Feds will cut rates, and if they do, then before that upwards displacement, I need to see price trade lower, maybe sweep some form of liquidity. So this is the previous week high. So yes, that is what I will be looking at on the weekly level. I want to see if we can be able to sweep the previous week low. So I'll go now to the daily chart. I want you to notice how in all of these videos I observe the order of time frame. I do not jump from any time frame to any time frame. That is a very important aspect in institutional trading, and we are trying as much as possible to mimic how institutions trade, the banks and such. So that is the previous week high and the previous week low. So this is my draw on liquidity this week, the previous week high. But first I would really want to see price sweep all this liquidity, because last week we had some form of consolidation which has still not been swept, and I would like to see price sweep that, and then we can displace lower. So I want to see price manipulate, sweep this sell side liquidity, then we can continue with we can start the bullish move upwards throughout the week and throughout the month. So on a daily chart, what I would have liked to see is that Monday 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 in relation to the previous day high low, the Friday low, I would have wanted to see price close lower, sweep the Friday's low, which I see has already happened on US100, because this low has been tagged already. You can see, just make that bigger, and then I'll make it red so that you can see. You can see that on Nasdaq US100 we have already swept the Friday's low, which is an important low, while on US 500, that is SP 500 ES, we have not swept Friday's low. So tomorrow when I want to come, I will observe if that has held, because if it will have held by tomorrow on Tuesday, we will have a SMT divergence, which I've been mentioning quite often in my videos. So we will have formed a lower low and a higher low on US 500, which has been more bullish. So it is very in line with what has been going on, because US 100 has been more bearish, as much as the general sorry as much as the general movement has been upwards. It has been more resistant to that, and it has been showing some bearish tendencies. You remember on the third week of August, where we had this change in state of delivery, which was not observed on US 500. You can see that on US 500 the change in state never got confirmed. You can go back to the videos on the third week of August, where I traded the reversal on Friday. So yes, I traded this reversal on 22nd of August. So back to this week, just delete this. So that is what I want to observe tomorrow. If price will have closed still above that on both pairs, if price were to remain as it is right now, tomorrow I will come in looking for longs, and I will take this sweep on the daily candle, the Friday candle that had been swept. I will take it as the liquidity sweep that I was talking about, that I would want to see the previous week low being swept. So I will take this as my liquidity sweep, and I will start anticipating for a long setup to form tomorrow or on Thursday as we await NFP. I do not trade NFP. I only trade after the news. So actually there is something very interesting I wanted to talk about regarding NFP weeks. From the experience that I've had with them, I came to a decision that I will not be trading the NFP week. Not that I will not be trading fully. What I meant is I will only be trading on Tuesday and Wednesday AM session. So after the Wednesday AM session, I do not trade until the NFP day after the news release. So what I mean is I will only be trading tomorrow on Tuesday. So for example, if this setup will be available tomorrow, I will trade it. I will trade the long, and then I can also trade on Wednesday. But then I do not trade the day before NFP, and I do not trade the hours before NFP. So after Wednesday, I will be closing all my trades, and I will be waiting for Thursday to play out, because it's a pre high impact news day, which is not very conducive for trading. Price might misbehave and the algorithm might misbehave. So Thursday will not be a trading day for me, and I will only be coming back to the charts on Friday after NFP. So yes, I guess that is the weekly outlook. I have talked about the news that will be. So let me just finish off by looking at it. But we have several high impact news tomorrow and on Wednesday, and unemployment claims on Thursday. But the most important news this week is the non-farm employment change. So that is what mainly we will be looking at. So I'll see you throughout the week. Have a good time. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any inquiries, you can reach out. My numbers are on the poster. Have a good time. Thank you for tuning in.